Welcome back. Officials of the National Workers Union say after some maneuvering through roadblocks, smooth sailing is expected to bring some cheer to ease tensions at the St. Jude Hospital. Industrial officers of the National Workers Union burnt the midnight oil to ensure daily paid staff at St. Jude Hospital enjoy a Merry Christmas by receiving an $800 payment. More in this report.
Staff members of the St. Jude Hospital, represented by the National Workers Union, NWU, are receiving some good news ahead of the Christmas season. The leadership of the NWU expressed concern over growing tensions among the workers of St. Jude Hospital if there is to be non-payment of the $800 lump sum before Christmas that was agreed upon in a recently signed Memorandum of Understanding. Secretary General NWU Johan Harewood says industrial relations officials at the NWU interfaced with various agencies to ensure the agreement is honored.
The St. Jude, we had to liaise with personnel outside of the GNT, Ministry of Health, and as I indicated, the Office of the Prime Minister. That office had to get involved. So that was the slight delay. But as I said, everything is in train, everything is a go. So we are looking forward to at least getting that $800 and reducing the tension that exists at St. Jude Hospital, so that it will give us the opportunity now come January, February next year to sit down with the management of St. Jude and negotiate and come up with a signed collective agreement for that statutory entity.
The NWU recently signed the MOU with the government negotiating team to secure an $800 lump sum payment for daily paid workers before the 31st of December. Harewood assures the disbursement will be handed out soon.
It's good news. The employees that we represent at St. Jude Hospital will be getting the approved $800 lump sum prior to Christmas 2019, so this payment would be effected by Thursday, Friday of this week.
The signed MOU makes provisions for the lump sum to be paid to daily paid workers, community health aides, watchmen, constituency councils, and non-established workers, as well as St. Jude Hospital and all government workers who fall within the National Workers Union bargaining unit. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Solange Alfred.
Longtime member of the Carnival fraternity, Michael Danny Marshall, affectionately known as the Last Dragon amongst his peers, was laid to rest on Monday following an open casket ceremony held at the Castries City Hall. President of the Carnival Bands Association, Barry George, says the deceased craftsman will forever be remembered by carnival and cultural enthusiasts for his immense skill and contributions to the development of St. Lucia's Carnival. George says, as a longtime friend and colleague of Marshall, he can foresee the void that will be left in the King and Queen of the Bands competitions.
Definitely, it's a loss to the Carnival fraternity. King and Queen of the Band is an area that we've been trying to develop for the longest while. And of course, we have seen improvement in it from this year Carnival. And again, that stems from the hard work of Mr. Marshall and all of those who are passionate about that and trying to keep that aspect of Carnival alive. So definitely, Mr. Marshall not exactly dead, I would say. He lives in a number of us, a lot of us. Today is more or less a celebration of him more than anything else. Yes, we'll miss him and we express condolences to his family, but I would say his legacy lived on.
George says Carnival 2020 may have already seen a major loss, but members of the Carnival fraternity intend to ensure that the legacy of the Last Dragon is well portrayed. St. Lucian Grammy-nominated artist Taj Weeks says a major factor in his success as a musician was realizing the importance of business in the music industry. He says all too often musicians become comfortable with viewing music simply as a hobby that pays. With St. Lucia's growth in entertainment and cultural tourism, he urges musicians to realize that they do not make appearances to simply play, but instead to view every appearance as a working opportunity to build their brand.
This is the only profession where they ask if you're coming to play. I'm not coming to play, I'm coming to work. And the musicians have to realize that they're not coming to play, they're coming to work. And if you listen, every song I make, I have to write it, rehearse it, record it, produce it, master it, make physical CDs and you ask me for a free CD. You never walk into a doctor's office and ask him for a free visit. So unless you as a musician elevate yourself where you realize you're coming to work, you cannot be taken advantage of. These brothers still think they're going to play. That's why there's all this confusion.
Weeks laments that young musicians do not know the worth of their talents and often fall victim to being overworked and underpaid, simply driven by their passion for music, which he adds is unfortunately impractical.
I don't think the musicians realize how much they're worth. Turn off the sound in the world, we cannot function. We are the soundtrack of everybody's lives. So why you let them tell you what they have to do? I don't leave my home unless them dollars are right, you know. Period.
He envisions that the recent formation of a musicians' union will help foster interaction between experienced musicians and new budding talent, which will help to better guide their growth as artists. Youth athletes from various secondary schools on island were recently given the opportunity to develop their skills in pole vault alongside internationally recognized pole vault professionals from the diaspora. This was part of the second St. Lucia Pole Vault Summit.
I'd like to welcome everyone here to the Jump Center at Patricia James Secondary School. Today's a special day. We've been working up to it all year long, all week long, and today we all get to be a part of history. Each and every one of you is going to be a part of that today.
That was the program director for the Monrepo Athletics Academy, Jump Center, and Pole Vault St. Lucia, Andy Bale, in an address to students prior to a training session held on Wednesday, December 11th at the newly commissioned Jump Center. The student cohort in attendance consisted of top national junior high jump and long jump athletes who are currently in preparation for the first ever boys and girls inter-school pole vault championship to be held on Wednesday, December 18th. Special guests in attendance at the Jump Center included Chief Education Officer in the Ministry of Education, Fiona Mayer, whom Bale referred to as a great champion for the development of athletics programs on island. Mayer urged the young athletes to grasp strongly onto this unfolding opportunity.
You must recognize opportunity. Going to Bermuda, going to El Salvador, going to games in Jamaica. All of these life experiences are going to impact you if you make that effort and if you are consistent and if you progress at what you're doing. It's there for you. So I'm looking forward to watching my television screen and seeing that some of you are representing St. Lucia.
Mayer, who has been heavily involved in the program since its conception, praised the instructors who have come on board to join Bale and his team.
The passion of one person is what we see in Andy. Andy is the wheel that is turning both in the back and in the front. But likewise, our teachers embracing it and supporting it is what makes it continue. And I speak about sustainability in as much as we have individuals coming to share with us the expertise, but we as local people must embrace it and continue even in their absence.
Key partners in the development of this program include the Monrepo Athletics Academy, the St. Lucia Athletics Association, the Ministry of Youth Development and Sports, the Ministry of Education, the National Lotteries Authority, Blue Waters St. Lucia Limited, and Harbour Club. For Hot 7 News, I am Jacka Wooding.
In a recent meeting, Agriculture Minister Ezekiel Joseph underscored the need for key partners in the banana export ring to augment their strategies to increase the amount of bananas exported to the United Kingdom. We hear more about this recent development from the Agriculture Ministry's Amanda Faye Clark.
Representatives of WinFresh, the National Fair Trade Organization, the NFTO, and the Banana Productivity Improvement Project, the BPIP, met with ministry leaders to identify what issues continue to plague the banana industry and to discuss on possible solutions which could result in increased banana sales over the next 4 months. Chief Executive Officer of WinFresh, Bernard Conivert, says the time has come for open, honest dialogue among partners in order that the industry and farmers reap the rewards of their investments, time and financing in an already competitive banana market.
It is an industry that is not entirely competitive, and it probably will never be very competitive in the sense that the industry is competing against some, and we have said so before, some very, very large players is a real big ocean that we are swimming in with this banana industry. But that does not mean it cannot survive. Okay? And so we need to look at it critically, all of us, with a positive mind, which says we want to do something to make it work.
Agriculture Minister Honorable Ezekiel Joseph reiterated the concerns of the Prime Minister and that of many administrators of the ministry, which are opportunities not being capitalized upon because of the manner in which the business of marketing our bananas are being handled.
I can say that we are not happy as to the figures we are seeing as it pertains to the exports so far for 2019 to the UK market. We are not happy. And I remember telling Mr. Severin and Mr. Fontenade is there that I recall when Mr. Fontenade was in a position to provide the information, I used to get weekly information as to the exports. When time Mr. Fontenade left, I have not been able to get it. I've been requesting this ever so often, and as the ministry, we are not getting that information. Commitments and promises have been made, we're not getting it. But of course, that information is important for us, and I say as the ministry, to be able to monitor what's happening on the ground. And for us to intervene, one, we believe is appropriate. So I am to believe that the mere fact that we're not getting the information is that everything seems to be okay. And we can only get involved because I've been told on many occasions, marketing is not your business, it's not the ministry's business. It's between Winfresh and NFTO. But when the fund hit the roof, they called to the ministry for some intervention. And I've said before, it's not after the horse has been bolted to call the ministry for intervention. I need to get weekly information.
Minister Joseph insists that there must be a swift turnover on the part of all parties. Otherwise, alternative actions will be sought to enable St. bananas to increase market share in the UK.
Winfresh is telling me that they're making, weekly purchase order. NFTO is not meeting the weekly purchase order. We know they have banners on the ground. We know that. So why is it that our farmers cannot sell the bananas? Why is it that the figures that we are seeing for this year is going to be less than next year? So moving forward, I want to make it clear that if the St. Lucia government is going to be involved in Winfresh, as far as my Prime Minister is concerned, we must see a significant, and I say this word deliberately, a significant improvement in the marketing of our bananas. If not, we have to look at options.
The Agriculture Minister is focused heavily on restoring the banana industry on firm footing, restoring a subsector that was once seen as the gem of the Caribbean. From the Ministry of Agriculture, I am Amanda Faye Clark reporting.
This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Stay with us. Sports and weather are all coming up after the break.